Welcome to the Digital Assets Series, Day One of Three. I'm Shadi Laser, and what we're going to do in this session is we're going to demystify what digital assets are. We're going to walk through some examples of what digital assets are. We're going to also take a look at the some ways that you can package what's in your brain and utilize that to escape, to sidestep the time for money trap. And so, with that being said, let's get into the proceedings. I also have an execution plan that, if you stick around, you will have access to download. So that walks you through the process in more of a checklist format, step by step, gives you the cliff notes so that you can walk through it. First of all, when we talk about the reframe and what digital assets are, many of you have your definition of what an asset is. But bear with me. I'm taking you through the very true story of not only myself, but I'm part of a collective of young individuals at the time who made a pact. Uh, Consider this: since the beginning of the first release of Kindle, Amazon Kindle made the pact to flood the market with content. And so each of us went on our own way over the years with this idea of publishing, where I ended up, if you, for those of you who are kung fu buffs, the five deadly venoms is what comes to mind. So my particular brand of kung fu was with audio. I literally would go from my car to the Greenbelt Metro, for those of you who are familiar with Maryland, and I would use my voice recorder and I will record every single day. And I use that to build a library. So over the years, what I realized is that when you package your knowledge and you make it available online, either through digital distribution, because I had an understanding at the time of the mixtape game and how mixtapes are promoted. So I said to myself, if I um, speak about business and use the same promotional format, use digital distribution to, let's say, iTunes, Amazon Music, Spotify, so on and so forth, then what could happen? And the results of that have been very, very interesting. And so when it comes to creating what I like to call money trees, they add up. And so when they add up, it's not just today, it may be $3.27 that you may gain, or let's use round numbers and say $3 if three singles, for example. What begins to happen is, as your profile builds, as you continue to go forth and not only publish, but also deliver your value to clients through testimonials, endorsements, appear on mass media and podcasts. If you think about your catalog as let's say the a stock portfolio or the stock market in general, uh, your personal evolution directly impacts that catalog. So if you write a best-selling book, then it increases the value exponentially of that catalog. So these are things that I stumbled upon through my journey throughout the years. And as I've gone through this path, other people have come to me, whether they are family members, whether they are friends, and they've said, well, I struggle with my bills, or I'm behind on this, or I'm behind on that. And so the first thing I started to think was, well, you've been to college, you may have a bachelor's, a master's, so on and so forth, or you just may have a ton of experience in a trade or a skill. Let's get started on packaging your knowledge and reframing, repackaging that into digital assets, money trees, in order to help to offset those bills and expenses and create multiple paydays for yourself. There's one thing that I want you to take a look at. Your first homework of the day is look at your checking account. And uh, in your checking account, there's going to be on average up to 20 different expenses per month. That could be what you spent at CVS or Walmart or Walgreens or Kroger. But when it comes to the paydays that you create for yourself, that's what we need to start to look at. We often look at reducing expenses and saving and living beneath our means. And for many of us, that particular narrative was given to us by entrepreneurs who are, let's say, millionaires or very successful. And we say, okay, how, what is their recipe for success? And that may be drive the pickup truck from 2006 and only eat spam and tuna fish every day and don't necessarily live on the right now plan, but more of the deferred plan. And what I'm here to share with you is that it's perfectly okay to have the best in life and to go for what you want as long as you are operating within the laws of ethics and operating with the best intentions in mind. You can have what you want and you can be happy to go for it. So, in this case, in order to do that, you need to create more paydays for yourself. Fridays don't have to be reserved for payday. You can create a payday for yourself every day. So, when it comes to digital assets, we know what assets are, or what a digital asset. What I want you to focus on is content that is packaged and can be rented, that can be licensed, that can be acquired, that can be leased to agencies, corporations, universities, institutions. And so it's one thing to have a course, online course, 7 ways to fix your credit in 2021. Great. And that course can generate life changing, tax bracket changing impact for your business or for your career because digital assets are not limited to the entrepreneur. You can be right at that company and create various courses, various ebooks, so on and so forth, and generate quite a bit of revenue for yourself. But when I come into play is not necessarily what a course is or can a course make money. E-learning is a billion-dollar business. E-learning is a multi-billion-dollar industry. So chances are you subscribe to some form of e-learning, or let's say esports or entertainment of some sort that is a digital asset for the owner. Where I come into play is the question you should ask me is not, can I help you create a course? I can, I have the skill set to do that. But how do I leverage my course to get out of debt or create a family trust, finance my children's education, have this course generate income over and over and over 20 years from now? That's what I do. That's what separates me. And so when it comes to that, what I want you to understand is that the knowledge that is in your brain can solve every problem that you have from a financial standpoint and also give you the passport to travel to realities that you may have considered far-fetched at one point. The information that's in your brain, if you package it and you position it so that the people, millions of people who are searching online right now, are able to find the answers to the questions that you're able to solve, then it can change your life. It has changed my life. It has changed many of my friends' lives, my clients' lives, family members' lives. And I'm sharing with you some of the details of what that actually is about. Now, we talk about the time for money trap. So, chances are, if you are a service provider specifically, so I'm mainly talking to my service providers and senior employees who have aspirations of being consultants or side businesses of some sort. So here's how it works. You're either going to have a contract with a corporation or agency, or you're going to have some form of service delivery for a fee. That's how it typically works when you start out. And so everything's great. Let's give the best case scenario. Let's say you have a 1 year contract. So money's coming in every 2 weeks to every 30 days. So net 15, net 30, and everything's fine. That's the best case scenario for this particular scenario that I'm describing. So what happens is when you're on the project, you are giving your time to deliver great work, but you're not planting your seeds for in terms of prospecting and making sure that you create that pipeline that you need in order to have sustainable income while you're on the project. So if something happens during the 1 year where the manager or the COTAR, the contract representative, comes to you and says, well, due to funding issues, which is definitely the case during this time of COVID-19, we can't support the project. You have 90 days to leave. Then you get into active mode. So that means you're on LinkedIn once again. You dust off your LinkedIn and hey, I'm back. You know, and you're posting more content. You're trying to speak places, and you're basically in prospecting mode because you went from a sure thing to a unsure thing. And so what tends to happen in this case is since you haven't planted the seeds for the rainy day, you haven't brought your umbrella in the trunk for the rainy day, you have a lapse where the time that you could have used to transition into steady income through another project, now you have a gap. And even if you find something right away, the hiring time for most deals tends to be about 3 to 5 weeks. And so that's 3 to 5 weeks without income. So if it's a longer gap, then you're starting to eat into your savings. That's not good because basic math would tell you that if you have money out and that money out is higher than your money in, then there's some explaining to do to some bill collectors, to the mortgage or rent. And that's never fun for you or your family, your relationship. Even your pets may look at you and say, what's going on? So we need to find a better way in order to rectify that. So digital assets, specifically packaging your brain in order to put it online, distribute it, and ensure that it's positioned in a way that people who are searching for solutions are able to find it is the here and now as far as what you need to be doing during this time. Every one of us needs to find an additional way to generate income during this time. The traditional ways of earning money during this time have shifted, adjusted, including the psychology of the buyer. So if are looking to learn Forex, or you're looking to learn Facebook ads, there's a learning curve. And each path that you may go down, if you put enough time, enough sweat equity, do your 10,000 hours, give 3 months and dedicate yourself, and you'll get there. But in some cases, the learning curve is what shuts a lot of people down. It's a lot easier to start with something you already know and have proven and have years of experience with in order to get started. I'll give you an example. So let's say you've been to college, and many of you who are viewing this are indeed educated, and I applaud you for that. But the question is, what is happening with those term papers, with those papers that you've written, the research that you've done? Here's what I suggest. You can repurpose those term papers. And if you have the right format, which I do have access to through my system, you can repurpose the term paper into a digital asset and host it online, and people will access it, buy it. And with my system, the difference between what I do and other people may do is I use the law of compound interest, and essentially the the thought that if someone buys something once, chances are when they're presented with a complimentary offer during the checkout process, there's a 60% probability that they're going to buy again at a lower price point. In some cases, with the upsell, higher price point. So you have to consider that if someone buys one thing and you have a content library where there's multiple things that are available, multiple digital assets that are available, then once they buy one thing, they say, oh, for example, when you go into the Apple store, you buy an iPhone. Before you leave and you're walking to the counter, you're going to need a case. You know that iPhones break, the screens crack, so you're going to need some protection on the screen. And so before you even make it to the register, you're already conditioned to buy complementary uh, products to support your investment so that you get more out of the investment. The question is, why can't you build your own Apple store within your business? You don't have to have an inventory of physical products. You can have an inventory of service-based products or products that provide a solution in the minds of a targeted user. So these are the things that I want you to keep in mind. So when we talk about time for money, going back to our scenario, when you have digital assets that are always working for you, here's how it works. When you go on social media and let's say you post something that's engaging, we live in a search engine society, meaning everything's on demand. If I miss the NBA finals, if I look hard enough online, I know where to go. I can watch LeBron win championship in real time on demand. Same thing is with Netflix, for example. If there's a movie that is out, I don't necessarily need to sit by my phone and wait for the notification. I may be online and see the reaction, and then I can go watch it. And so when it comes to digital assets as it relates to you, the personal brand, if you have a content library that's established for your brand and the problems you solve and your unique positioning, when you amplify that signal, it may be a tweet, it may be an IG post, it may be a Facebook Live video, it may be a Periscope video. What happens is you deliver exactly what your promise is in that video, and people say, who is that lady? Who is that gentleman? and then they go and look and search for what you have to offer, and they buy. So if you're posting every day, if you're running paid traffic, if you're on a popular podcast, if you're featured within a book, if you're the author of a book, if you're the author of an audio book, if you do a TED talk, if you speak at a meetup group, these are all opportunities to generate the ringing of the cash register. So you can also, for your email list, for example, utilize content libraries where if someone opts into your email list, they are redirected to a landing page where you say, thank you for subscribing to the business advisory series. That's my email list. And please shop with me and my partners. And so you can have your content library consisting of your best products. And also, you can have products from your partners that are there, and you have an affiliate commission that you gain. So, standard industry standard tends to be 50% for products that are 497 US and under. So this allows you additional opportunities to create digital assets in order to succeed. So the beauty of using digital assets to escape the time for money trap is that it frees up your time because you're generating, the cash register is generating, you're receiving notification of payment received while you sleep. You're receiving notification of payment received when you go viral, notification of payment received when you speak at an event or conference or meetup group. These things are always working in your favor as long as you're consistent to what people are searching for and what problems you solve. So once you get clear on that, then you create the digital assets and you allow those using the law of compound interest to create an exponential sales register for your business, for your brand, and for your career. I like to see more full-time speakers who are employed to use this strategy to offset their travel costs, for example, or they're speaking at an event that's in another city and their company is not reimbursing them. The speaker understands the value of doing this. The company may be slow to uh, get it. And so that's where digital assets make a lot of sense. So you can say, for example, for my speakers, you can say, hey, I'm speaking at this event. If you want the slides, if you want the checklist, if you want the video, then donate uh, 27 bucks, 47 bucks. And from there, you can offset the hotel cost, the rental car, the flight, possibly. And that allows you the freedom to continue to do what you love without worrying about losing your shirt in the quest or pursuit of building your brand. Once again, if you enter the word assets with an S in the comments, you will receive a execution plan that will take you through the steps to get started with building digital assets by packaging your brain and selling it. Once again, I'm Shadidi Laser, and you've been tuning in to day one, numero uno, of the digital assets series. Stay tuned tomorrow as we're going to go greater in depth in this concept.